Have you ever been let go from a company or a job um, and had no say in that decision, or it was a surprise to you? Hey there, it's Christopher. I'm coming to you live from Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm here to talk a little bit about my new EP, effective today, which is officially out now. I don't know if you can see that. Come on, camera. Well, anyway, if I turn down the brightness, how about I do that? There. A little bit. Anyway, it's there on my phone from the Apple Music Store. It's also on Spotify and Google Play. It's called Effective Today, and I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about the meaning behind it and why I dedicated it to anyone who's ever survived a corporate reorg or downsizing. So it's just over a year ago, not quite a year and a half ago, and like many DIY musicians, I have a day job and use that to support myself. And I had been with an organization for quite a number of years and done a lot of work for them. And a year and a half ago, I had just come back. I was on holidays with my kids and I had come back. This is just after Christmas. And it was a weekend where I had the kids and they happened to be sick a lot, which was a lot of fun. I remember my son had the flu, and on Monday morning I went into work and I tried to go to work anyway. I was there for a bunch of meetings in the morning. I just felt like crap. I just felt like I was going to be sick, and I told people I worked with I got to go home because I'm going to be sick. Like, I'm nauseous and I'm going to go home. So went home sick, checked my email, and I knew that I had a couple of meetings booked in the afternoon. And so I emailed the organizers of each of those meetings just to say, hey, heads up, I've gone home with the flu, but if you really need me to, I'd be happy to call in, or we can reschedule for later this week. And one of the two meeting organizers emailed me back right away and said, actually, this is not the kind of meeting we can do on the phone. I need you to come back in person, because this kind of meeting can't be done on the phone. And I thought, well, that's weird. And it was for a meeting that I had gotten, a meeting invite for over the weekend. And it was for invite from someone who, worked in my area or whatever, but, wasn't my boss or anything, but just someone that I, worked with. And anyway, dragged myself back into work that afternoon. And while I was going back to work, the meeting location changed to the HR boardroom. And so when I got there, I'm like, well, if I was watching this from outside myself, I'd be telling myself, that's not a good sign. But I went in, and this person who booked the meeting was in the hallway, and there were people in the meeting room where we're supposed to be. And it's like, there's people in here, we'll just wait. And this person said, oh, there's people in there? Well, we'll just go take the next room. And we went into the next room, which happened to be like an HR boardroom, and it was set up. There was some guy from HR, and there's papers on the table, and they let me sit down. I'm like, you guys you're actually doing this. And this person who, at that time, didn't really have a boss, but we reported directly to this VP. Anyway, this person was not my boss, but it was someone else who reported to that VP. So I guess that kind of made sense, sort of. But anyway, she said, well, unfortunately, we're here because effective today, you no longer have a role at this organization. And they got up and left and let the guy from HR go and walk me through all the stuff. So after 8 years, I was let go. And, my boss wasn't the one who let me go. And I was sort of out of the blue. And I was kind of in shock. Not to mention nauseous, which was also not a good thing. But anyway, I went through that whole ordeal, and I wasn't allowed to go back to my desk or anything. I had to go immediately out of the building, and at a later time, they came and brought me stuff in a box and met me in a parking lot so I could get my stuff back. And I just remember sitting in the car in the parking lot afterwards going, what just happened? Did that actually happen? It was really surreal. And that had never happened to me before in all my years of working. I'd never actually had that classic kind of scenario happen. I've heard it happen to friends of mine. I've had family go through it. You hear these stories all the time, but that was the first time I had experienced it directly. And while the fact that I was gone, ended up being, a very beneficial event and decision for me. I'm in a much better place now. It was, not a good environment around that time where I was, and so I'm in a much better place now. So the fact that I'm gone and moved on is actually a much better thing. And going through that process was a good experience in terms of building up resiliency and knowing that I can go through and find something better. But the how it happened and the why it happened, of course, really bothered me, because I'd been there for quite a long time, and I cared about the people I worked with and who we were working for and all that kind of stuff. So just to have something out of the blue with no explanation of there's no cause, just no role for you, even though we'll hire for your position someone in your job a few weeks later after you're gone. But it was just, those things really bothered me. And it struck me that there is maybe a way that I could tap into those feelings I was having, and maybe write something musically that could speak to anyone who's ever had to go through that feeling of, it's a form of rejection, basically. It's just not much different than any kind of relationship. It could be, a marriage, or, another kind of romantic relationship, or a family relationship, or whatever. It's, you have a relationship, it's long-term, and all of a sudden you're out, and you had no say in the decision, and you didn't know it was coming, and you're sort of blindsided by it, and all of a sudden there you are, and you're out. I knew so many people who were affected by that and have gone through a reorg or have been asked to leave. People very, very close to me have had pretty much the exact same thing happen, but at a different organization, where they're asked to just sort of okay, goodbye, see you later. And, very, very talented and smart people, hardworking, and somewhere in the political structure of things, they decided, well, whatever, and made a decision on a spreadsheet or an org chart or wherever those kind of decisions kind of get hashed out. But these are real people that we're talking about, and for the most part, they're really bright and hardworking and have good ideas, and heart is in the right place. And for them to go through something like this with no explanation, and to also know that you've done a bunch of work and now you don't get to see it through, or that kind of a thing, there's a lot of emotion there. There's a lot of things to work through. And so for the past year, I've been writing some songs that can kind of help give voice to the various different kind of angles that you take when you go through that. And for a lot of you, I know that you have gone through something similar. So what I'm hoping is, with this EP that's called Effective Today, you'll be able to find something that makes you feel like, yes, I get that. I know exactly what that feels like. And ultimately, hopefully it's something that makes you feel stronger and better, and that you know that things have been, it might have been a hard or terrible thing to go through, but you're in a better place now and stronger for it, and all those kinds of things. And while it's one thing to know that and have friends or family tell you, you know, it'll get better, it's another thing to feel it emotionally. And that's something where music can really make a difference. Music has this emotional connection with people. And what I'm hoping is that musically, these 4 songs can help connect you to this emotion that it's going to get better. You'll be in a better place once it's all through. You just need to get there, regardless of what kind of scenario happened, regardless of, you know, how deeply it's affected you or financially it's affecting you. I know that you can do it, and because I was able to do it. And so I wanted to share those emotions and that perspective and my experience with you, because my hope is that you're able to connect with that and feel like, yes, I can do this too, because I know someone else did it. And that's where this EP came from. And so I was recording it in my home studio over the last year. It's 4 songs, and they span a variety of styles. They go from sort of big electronic anthems to, there's a poppy ukulele song, and then there's, you know, more of a sing-along piano kind of raw kind of feel, and the last song is a bit more of like takes a bit of twists and turns and stuff, which sometimes I like to do with songs. But the EP is called Effective Today. It's out as of this weekend. Like, it's out right now, so you can find it online in all the regular places. So if you're into streaming, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's Google Play. If you want to download it, the MP3 files, you can go to iTunes or Google Play. You can go to CD Baby, my page there, and download it there. It's also on Amazon and pretty much any kind of digital online music service you can think of, it'll be there. And again, it's called Effective Today. There are 4 songs: Dropping the Chain, Now That You're Gone, You Lost That Feeling, and Practically Family. And I've been working on them, you know, most of last year, writing lyrics, writing the music, recording the music. And then earlier this year, I was able to wrap up early in the spring, recording the vocals and mixing it here in the studio, and just sort of polishing it up and so on, and getting it ready to release this summer. So, and now here we are, and you know a little bit of the of where it comes from and why I did it, and why it means so much for me to be able to share it out, because I hope it can make a difference in some people, in some of your experiences, if you've ever had to go through something like this. And if you know someone who's going through something like this, then maybe this would be something that, if you shared with them, might help lift their spirits or help them get through a tough time too. So that's the scoop with Effective Today. I'll be back on Facebook Live later on in the week to start going over. I'm going to do a session on each individual song and going over how I wrote it and some of the thoughts behind the lyrics, and putting the music together, instrumentation, and sort of behind the scenes stuff with each of those. So I'll give you some of the background of those, and at the end of it, I'll be doing musical performance, like a live performance on Facebook Live as well. So look forward to that later on. In the meantime, I hope you're able to check it out. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and for taking some time out of your day to understand what it is that I was trying to accomplish by doing this EP and where it came from. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video and chatting with you in the comments below. So hope you have a good week. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.